Demosthenes was an ancient Greece's most celebrated orator. He was famously said to have overcome a speech impediment. This was a man who has a speech impediment. He couldn't speak well, all right? But he overcame all of that and became Greece's most celebrated orator. And he famously said to have overcome a speech impediment through relentless practice. And it became the model of passionate, precise, and purposeful communication. And it was also said of Demosthenes that when he spoke, men will say, "Let us march." What does that mean? That somebody should come in front of you and speak to you, and you can go to war. You are ready to fight. You are ready to lose your life because someone came in front of you and is speaking to you. So the power of being able to reach into the hearts of people, the power of being able to communicate value, the power of being able to touch the deepest part of people's hearts is the essence of communication. All right, next slide. You can move ahead. So, what is communication? Communication is the ability to reach out to people, to use the power of words or language to touch other people deep in their hearts, to inspire them, to motivate them, and to get them to want to do something. That is the most incredible skill that one could ever have. All right? Imagine you going to church week in, week out. Why do you have to go to church week in, week out? It is because your pastor is able to communicate value to you in a way that keeps you coming over and over and over again. All right? So it's the ability to be able to reach out to people, to use the power of words or language to touch other people deep in their hearts. Being able to inspire them, to motivate and get them to want to do something. So as an individual, if you happen to lead teams in your organization, all right, if you own a business and you have staff that works with you, being able to use the power of words to communicate value to them, that is the essence of true communication. All right? Being able to inspire, take that word, to motivate and to get people to do something. That is the incredible power of communication. All right? Go ahead. So, why communication is at the heart of leadership? Why communication is at the heart of leadership? When you are able to communicate adequately with people, within systems, in organizations, trust is built by clarity. Your communication has to come clear. It has to be clear to people you are communicating to. If at a point or any point in time where you are communicating to people and they are saying, "Look, I don't understand what you're saying," that means that clarity is not in what you are communicating. So you have to be able to build trust by being clear in communicating value to the other person. All right? Between clients, amongst colleagues, with business partners, and every other person that you could think of, right? You being able to communicate value is what is most important. And partners feel safe when they understand what is happening and why. All right? Clients, colleagues, business partners, even your family members, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your husband, your wife, they feel safe when they understand what is happening, when they understand what you are communicating to them, and the reason why you are communicating that value to them. All right. When what you are communicating is too cumbersome, if people cannot understand what you're saying, it breeds anxiety. Ambiguity in your communication breeds anxiety. I need you to put that down. You can even put it on, you can react, put it on the chart. Ambiguity breeds anxiety. People don't know what is going on. They don't know what you're communicating if they don't understand what you're saying. All right, move ahead to the next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. Right? Meaning is co-created. Meaning is co-created. What does that mean? What you say matters less than what is heard. Whatever you are saying doesn't matter as much as what the other person is hearing you say. All right? Can I say that again? That what is said matters less to who you are saying it to, other than what they heard. All right? Let me give you an example. If you are looking at someone and then you are asking, for example, you say, "Are you mad?" That's a question. But how the other person reads what you are saying goes beyond what you say. All right? It also shows in your facial expression. All right? It shows in your body language. If you are actually asking a question or you are trying to get at them, okay, it's actually a question. "Are you mad?" is a question. But how you say it determines how the other person sees what you say. So what you said or what is said matters less than what is heard. So as leaders, for your partners within the organization, amongst your colleagues, amongst your staff in the organization, we must learn to bridge that gap intentionally so that whatever we are communicating to other people, we make sure that they understand what we are communicating at the other end. So what you say really matters less than what is heard. So we must learn to bridge the gap between what we say and what is heard so that what we say is exactly what they decode at the other end. All right, move to the next slide. Next slide. Okay, so we need to be clear about our language. I said before that ambiguity breeds anxiety. Right? This slide says vague goals produce vague results. Clear articulation unlocks commitment and accountability when you are clear with what you are saying. When the other person understands what you are saying, all right? It brings about commitment, and then they are accountable because people understand what you are saying and they can decode your words very clearly. Then you can hold them accountable to say, "Why? Actually, when I was speaking to you, you told me that you do understand or understood what I said to you." All right, so exactly this is what this slide means. You can move ahead. Next slide. Vague goals produces vague results. All right? The goal of communication is not to be understood. It is to make it impossible to be misunderstood. Let me say that again. The goal of communication is not to be understood. It's not so that people can understand you alone. It is to make it impossible for you to be misunderstood. So the true goal of communication is not merely to be understood, but to create such clarity, precision, and alignment that misunderstanding has a little room to operate, right? Good communication is intentional, it is strategic, and then it creates an awareness in the audience. It does not assume meaning. That meaning will be guessed correctly. They can articulate what you're saying, and then when questions are asked, people can rephrase your words back to you that this was what you said, and then they cannot misunderstand what you're saying. So this is a word by a man called Gary S. Goodman in the book topic Crystal Clear Communication. Move to the next slide because of our time. Right? What are the 5 fundamentals of clear communication? 5 fundamentals of clear communication. Know your outcome. Know your outcome. You must know the end point of where you are going before you start from the beginning, right? Remember I said in the beginning that clarity is at the heart of communication. You must be clear, right, on the exact result you want from the conversation, either by email, either through, presentations, whatever it is. Another thing is, what do you want the listener to think, to feel, or to do after your communication with them? That is what should be at the end of the communication, what you are trying to pass out to them, right? You need to know the outcome. You have to be clear on the exact result that you want from that communication, either by email, either through verbal discussions, either by through presentations, whatsoever it is. What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to think? How do you want them to carry on that conversation, after the communication that you have with them? This is the first fundamental of being clear in your communication. Move to the next slide. Next slide. Know your audience. Know your audience. Know the kind of person you are discussing with. Know the demographic of people that you are discussing with. So that helps you to tailor your message to their needs and to the level of their understanding. Remember I said in the beginning that ambiguity breeds anxiety. Imagine you are going to speak in a public primary school, and then you are speaking Cambridge English. They won't understand you. All right? So tailor your message to the needs and to the level of the understanding of the people, the demographic of people that you are speaking with, and their expectation, their language, their frame of reference, the level of their knowledge, and you being able to appeal to their emotional state, right? Know your audience. Know the demographic of people that you are discussing with, that you are speaking to. That helps you to be able to tailor your words, to be able to put together your word so that you can appeal to their emotional state. Move ahead. Next slide. Choose the right medium. Choose the right medium that best fits that message. I think this is very clear. Either it is face-to-face, either it's through a call, either by email, by chat, or by formal document, either by spoken, written, visual. Each of these communication channels has their own different power and purpose. All right? Each of these channels, either face-to-face, by email, through call or chat, or formal document, each of these communication channels has their own different power and purpose. So let us learn to choose the right medium of communication that best fit the audience that we're passing across information to. Move ahead. Next slide. When you speak, when you communicate with people, confirm that they understand what you are saying. Don't always assume that people know what you know. Can I say that again? People don't always know what you know. And so you should not assume that what you are communicating, that the other end, that they understand. So we must always learn to check that the message that was received was correctly received by you asking if they do understand. So can I see you react if everybody has been following me and that we all understand what we have been discussing amongst ourselves tonight? Let me see you give me a thumbs up. That we are all clear and that we understand what we have been discussing tonight on the fundamentals of clear communication. Let me see you react with a thumbs up if you are following. All right. Let me see you react with your emoji. If you are with me, if you are following me. All right. So know your audience. Be clear on know your outcome. Be clear on the exact result you want from the communication. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. We've passed this slide. Right. So use plain language. Use plain language. Let people understand what you're saying. Right? Know your audience. Know the kind of people. That's the essence of, that's the foundation of communication. Right? Know your audience. Know the kind of people you are discussing with. Right? What language do they use? Mirror their vocabulary, not yours. Mirror the vocabulary they can understand, right? What do these people care about? Connect the message to their own priorities, not your own priority. Move ahead. Next slide. Next slide, please. What are their fears? Or what are their resistances? Address these fears and resistances proactively and do not react to their fears. Either respond to them. So what is their preferred style? What kind of style? What style appeals to them? Is it detailed and oriented or versus the big picture? Is it the formal or informal? Understand, the demography of people that you're communicating with. That helps you to be able to choose a preferred style that you use in communicating with them. Move ahead. Next slide. Next slide. Right. So, leadership application. You need to ask questions. How do you prefer to receive feedback from this conversation? Either you are a team lead in your organization, either you are discussing with your wife, your partner, you own an organization, you are discussing with your staff. There are questions that are germane to us that we should ask. All right. How do you prefer to receive feedback? What would make this conversation feel valuable to you? All right. This information shapes every other communication that follows after that communication, because when the other person is able to tell you how they want to receive feedback and what would make the conversation you are having with them feel valuable, that information helps you and the other person at the other end to feel that the communication is valuable to them. All right, move to the next slide. Move to the next slide very quickly because of our time. So I give you this example. I'm going to show this slide, read this, and then show the next slide, and you choose which one that you are going to choose. So look at this one. Go back to the first slide, the previous slide. The facilitation of co-creative dialogue process enables the progressive operationalization of the client's desired outcome states through the collaborative identification of core values architecture. Take this, move to the next slide. Next slide. Or coaching helps you work out what really matters to you and then take the next step for you to get there. Which one out of these two slides would you take? I mean, you are going to take this because it is plain, because it is expository, because it is very clear. So remember, I said again in the beginning, ambiguity breeds anxiety when what you are communicating to the other person is too cumbersome. They don't understand it. All right? They don't understand it. People, we should learn to be able to communicate very clear and precisely to people so that they are able to understand what you are saying and then decode, understand what we are saying at the other end. All right, move to the next slide. Next slide. And this is common to everybody. Most people listen to reply. They do not listen to understand. And I mean, if you want this slide at the end of this meeting, I mean, I can send it to anyone. Just send me an email, just a request for you to get this slide so that if you are not able to run through all of the slides before our time runs out, so I can send this to you by email. You can just send me an email, just send me a text message, or you can come to the community and then request for the slide. I'm going to graciously send all of the slides to us, right? Listening. Most people only listen to reply. They don't listen to understand. Active listening requires discipline. Ask, then listen without interrupting. And again, summarize what you heard. What am I, you say, what I'm hearing is this and that. Have I understood you correctly? And then the other person said, absolutely, you know, I understand what you're saying. So we must always learn to listen to understand, not listening to reply. Okay, go to the next slide. Go to slide 32. Go to slide 32. Move to slide 32 because of our time. No, 28, sorry. Slide 28. Okay, so I'm doing this because of our time. What are the key takeaways that I want us to go with from tonight's webinar and until we see again next week? Crystal clear communication for leaders. Clarity is your own responsibility. If your client, your partner, your colleague is confused, the feedback is for you. And it is not a failing in them. That they don't understand what you are saying is because you are not able to communicate clearly to them. Number two is know your outcome before you speak. I've said that before. What do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel and do after the communication exchange? All right. Plain language is a professional skill. Learn to speak plain language to people, right? Listen as carefully as you speak. When we are speaking is also an avenue for us to also learn, all right? So listen as carefully as you speak. And then structure every communication. Let every of your communication be structured, all right? It's a two-way discipline. The best communicators are also the best listeners, all right? So this number 6 on that list is always close the loop. Confirm understanding. Confirm that people already understand what you're saying, and then agree on the next step ahead. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide because of our time. Next slide. Right? I'm going to recommend a book for us. And it's on crystal clear communication, how to explain anything clearly, both in speech or by writing. It says the best communicators make the complex simple, the unfamiliar familiar, and the distant clear. Next slide. The best communicators, you know, Make communications clear to everyone. The goal of communication is not to be understood. It is to make it impossible to be misunderstood. And that book is called Crystal Clear Communication by Gary S. Goodman. Crystal Clear Communication by Gary S. Goodman. So it says how to explain anything clearly in speech and in writing, right? The goal of communication is not to be understood. It is to make it impossible for you not to be misunderstood. All right. That book is written by Gary S. Goodman, and the topic is called Crystal Clear Communication. Next slide. Next slide. Do we have any question? Any question? Any question? Because of our time, if you don't have any question or you have any question you want to ask